Good morning, good afternoon, or good evening, whatever time it is that you're joining me for this video. Thank you once again for clicking on the Penboy Roy Fountain Pen Review channel. The subject of today's video is the Monteverde Giant Sequoia Fountain Pen. I've been over the background information on the Monteverde brand in the past. If you want more information, please check out my previous reviews. As for the Giant Sequoia fountain pens and how they came to be, it's a rather unique story filled with adventure, danger, and excitement. Okay, no, that's not true. What is true, however, is that the inspiration behind these pens come from the largest trees on this floating rock, and those trees are called giant sequoias, found in the Sierra Nevada mountains of California. It is here and only here that they grow naturally as opposed to planted like in other areas of the world. They are also referred to as the giant redwood, the Sierra redwood, the Sierran redwood, or even the most intricate of names, big tree. These pens are rather large and were designed so with the intention of paying homage to the trees from which they were named. They come in 3 different color options, bearing names that are shining examples of some of the most creative descriptions that the English language affords us to describe the earthy tones that the pens possess. They are brown, green, and blue. One can certainly wonder why it is that there is no red version, being that the giant sequoia trees are often called redwoods due to the reddish hues that the trunks possess. One can even ponder, why blue? To my knowledge, unless you're asking a heavy dimethyltryptamine user, there isn't a single tree that exists in nature that is naturally blue. Oh well. That's all I have for the background information. Moving on to the neutral zone, those elements about the pen that are neither good or bad, or can be good or bad depending on you. Our nib is our standard Jaffa brand No. 6 size stainless steel nib. It has the Monteverde name on the shoulder and is further decorated with the outline of a mountain. Under the breather hole is the Monteverde logo, and underneath that is the brand name yet again, in case you forgot the first time, as well as USA. Adjacent the logo, on the side of the nib is an M to indicate that this nib is a medium. The feed is your standard cheapy plastic feed found on many modern pens. The nib and feed are friction fit in an unscrewable nib unit housing that will fit most of your Monteverde and Conklin fountain pens. It screws into an acrylic section that bears a tapered design that, absent the color, is identical to the Conklin All-American. The section threads are a metal assembly that is epoxied into the acrylic portion and are threaded on the inside to hold the threaded converter. The section threads screw into the acrylic thread assembly that is, upon very close inspection, a separate piece epoxied into the barrel. The rest of the barrel is slightly tapered and is made of a relatively girthy amount of acrylic. The end of the pen is flat with slightly rounded edges. The cap is more of the same with its design, color, and tapering shape to the top of the cap, where we see, just as on the bottom of the pen, a flat end with slightly rounded edges. The clip is a simple metal clip tension fixed with an L bracket that inserts into a cutout in the cap and is secured to the underside of the cap using a screw. The center band is a simple flat wedding band style band with the Monteverde brand name engraved on the front and Sequoia on the rear. The pen came in our familiar Monteverde packaging, starting with the green outer sleeve. Slide that off, you have your pretend green leather clamshell box with the brand logos on the top. Open that puppy up, you got your off-white pretend leather interior with branding on the top, and your pen sitting atop a removable bedding. Lifting that up reveals a secret compartment with a black and blue ink cartridge, as well as filling instructions and warranty information. The threaded converter is included pre-installed in the pen. That's all I have for the neutral zone. Moving on to the good, those elements about the pen that are good. I have 3 of these, 1 in each color. So with that, I was really able to test the consistency of the nibs from pen to pen. All 3 of these pens are mediums. I am really pleased to say that each of these nibs right out of the box did their jobs well. I've used these pens regularly over the last couple of weeks, and I never experienced an issue that tainted the writing experience. As a matter of fact, to date, I've never actually experienced an issue with any of the Monteverde pens that I have. I've heard from others that there were issues with their nibs, such as it writing dry, ink starving, hard starting, and whatnot. So I'm always keeping a close eye on Monteverde pens when I get them. But as I've said, I've yet to experience an issue. All of these pens wrote consistently without any of the aforementioned complaints or issues. Maybe I'm just lucky. Who knows? But I found all three of these to be smooth, with no catching on the paper in any direction to indicate misalignment of the tines. All three were equivocal in terms of line width, wetness, and smoothness. The line width is closer to that of a Eurofine nib, however. The nib is on the stiffer side, being that it's made of steel, however does allow for a slight amount of line variation if you wanted it to. Is the nib and the way it writes God's gift to nibs? No, the way it writes is not at all an experience that gives the pen any sort of unique character or identity. However, it reliably performs its function as a fountain pen and writes every time as a fountain pen should. There's no real feedback, and the nib is very smooth. Although I prefer a nib with more feedback, I have to say I really enjoy the smoothness that this pen offers. It was so smooth, it was like I was writing on a wet dolphin. The balance is good as well. Despite its size, posting the pen doesn't backweight the pen, making the writing very comfortable. I like to post this more often than not, even though I typically like to write with my pens unposted. I think it's because I find how comfortable it is posted despite its size and girth fascinating. Now let's go into the build. This pen is made with a hearty serving of acrylic. The barrel walls are thick, and this gives the overall feel of the pen in the hand a rather sturdy feel, in spite of it being lighter than one would presume just by looking at it. It's made of European-grade acrylic, meaning it's not European-made. What it is commercial-grade, mass-produced acrylic, polished down to a high-quality sheen. It looks very attractive with its striations and depth. The brown, in particular, is especially beautiful. Even though green is my favorite color, it's going to have to take a back seat to this brown. The brown of the three is absolutely the richest and most luxurious looking. It certainly looks like it costs more than it does. Speaking of cost, moving on to the bad. Let's talk coin. The giant Sequoia fountain pens have an MSRP of $95. With retailers online, they are discounted down to $75.95. That is more than a decent price for the pen you're getting. For sure, but check out this crazy noise I'm about to make with my face. From May 8th to May 15th, my good friends at Goldspot Pens will be having a weekly dip sale on these pens. They will be discounting them down to $47.50. Not bad at all. $76 isn't bad either, but $47.50 is just so much better, isn't it? Tack on a lifetime warranty, I find it hard to whine about the price. That's all I have for the bad. Moving on to the ugly. Those elements about the pen that should not be, but are. With every one of the pens I have, I neurotically examined and inspected them. Nowhere was there a defect or flaw that I could find. If you really want me to nitpick, I would have to talk about the thread assembly in the barrel. Why not make it a single unified piece? Why make it an assembly that could maybe come apart someday? And why not make an entirely acrylic section with acrylic threads? That would give the user the option to eyedrop fill the pen. However, as it is, due to the metal thread assembly and the barrel's thread assembly, that option is not there. Not a big gripe, especially for the price, but almost worth a mention. That's all I have for the ugly. It's high noon, decision-making time. Should you or should you not pull the trigger on the Monteverde giant Sequoia fountain pen? As I've stated before, I've heard of instances where people had issues with their Monteverde pens. When a brand like Monteverde produces as many pens as they do, there's simply going to be a larger number of pens that fall through the quality control cracks. The important thing to consider is the ratio of issues to non-issues. It's also important to consider that people are more inclined to report problems they have as opposed to problems they don't have. This may very well account for the numerous quality control issues that are reported on the internet regarding the Monteverde pens. Let me give you an example. Whenever there is a plane crash, it always makes the papers, right? Seldom do you see in the papers reports of planes that land safely. I'm not saying that these people reporting issues are wrong. As a matter of fact, I think these people are essential. Some may even say they're being super picky or even anal retentive. To that, I say, you're damn right they are, and good. It's because of these people that fountain pen companies have to step up their game or go away. Save the false advertising for the desperate gullible dudes buying male enhancement pills at 3 in the morning. As for the fountain pen virus infected, you sell something that isn't what you say it is, we will call you out, blow up your spot, and put you on blast, and we'll do it intellectually and with great handwriting. The fountain pen virus infected are too smart and too savvy of a people to fall for such nonsense. and this applies universally across race, religion, sexual preference, political beliefs, or any other differences people may have. Why do I use fountain pens? That's why. But as far as the Monteverde Giant Sequoia goes, this pen is as advertised and more. So pull the trigger on this pen. If you do it between May 8th and May 15th at Gold Spot Pens, you get it for even less at $47.50. That's crazy. That was my review of the Monteverde Giant Sequoia fountain pen. I hope you found it helpful. Thanks again for watching. Love you guys. Be well, be safe.